Hello, and that's the third video in our sequel for data analytics course, from noise to professional or beginner to advanced. So before moving on to describe further about the selection or select statement in SQL language, let me first give you a quick introduction about the schema or the data model which we are using in this course. So like I mentioned with Oracle, it's a great thing. Like Oracle already have the pre-built schema with the data set that you can use to write down basic to advanced query. And you're gonna see till the end of the course, until unless we create our own schemas and object, we're gonna use this schema a lot to learn the SQL language. And I will give you a quick tip that once you are comfortable using this schema, you can create the same schema, you can export the data, and you can import it to the other databases, and then you can learn those databases with the similar pattern as well through the SQL language. And you will be surprised, like once you understand SQL, so learning the big data queries, which is really a hot topic in the industry, especially linked with the cloud, you're gonna see that the same SQL with a minor changes in the syntax, we can use with those databases as well. And I would mention couple of big vendors, like especially with Snowflake. All you need to learn the SQL syntax, and then you have a full control on Snowflake, or you can build your own data warehouses. And we're not going to go towards the data warehouses in this course, but just keep in mind, especially with the machine learning, which is, I would say, strongly linked with the data analytics. You can use the same skills to apply the data on machine learning, and then cleanse the data, make the data ready for the machine learning model. And then it's just a matter of feeding the data into machine learning, and then machine learning start doing some amazing work for you, right? But let's come back to that. So basics, you need to understand at the very basic level, that how to store and manipulate the data in the database using SQL. So in this course, we're gonna use the HR schema, and like I mentioned, in Oracle, user and schemas are interchangeable. Like if you want to do anything within Oracle, you have to have your own username, and the schema is associated with that username, and that user or schema is a boundary in which you create your own objects, and those objects are identified through your schema. If you have write privileges, then you can see other schemas object as well. If not, that means you can still look at your own objects, but you are not allowed to see other people schema or objects by saying it. So let's come back. In this data model, we have a couple of tables and we have one view. I'll come to the view later on, but in this video, I'm just going to show you a quick introduction about these table. And then if you don't understand them completely, don't worry, we're going to do a lot of exercises, a lot of practical exercises on these tables, so you will eventually understand how these table has been designed, and what's the reason that Oracle developed these as a sample schema for the practice. They cover most of the SQL side of Oracle, and I tell you by experience that once you learn, although it looks like it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 table, once you start understanding these 7 tables and understanding writing queries against those tables, don't worry about it. If you're gonna have the 700 table in future at your job, it will be the same pattern, right? The practices will remain same, the working attitude remains same. Yeah. And I would say it will be a bit flexible compared to academics, because we normally violate the rules if we want to, because it's not like the academic thing that works fully in the industry. You have to look at the requirements. Sometimes you are really under time constraint, and the requirements are so vague, so you just build and then refine it. All right. So the very first object, which is the main object, is employee, like you can see, and how I identify. I tell you that is by experience. Like once you have strong experience working with the databases or data model or in the analytics, you can find out, okay, which could be the main entity of this data model. So in this data model, because it is HR, so HR is more like human resource, which is all related to the employees. So employees are our main entity or object in this model. So employees, we have different columns, and these columns are referring the attributes of the employee which we are storing within the database. And just keep in mind, in real life we have so many columns, but because it's a simple schema, so that just give you the idea that how you can create and how you can use those columns while you are writing your own select statement. But if you are more interested in creating these columns and need to understand the database data types as well as the indexes, they're gonna come in this course at intermediate level, or maybe some at advanced level. So wait till we reach there, right? But let me come towards the column. So you can see it almost have most of the column which we use day to day. There are many other data types I'm not going to discuss at this stage, but just want to show you there's a edit button in here. You can create edit. Yeah. And then from here, you can see we have plenty of data types which are available for us, and that these are referring to the nature of the data that we can store against this column. And we'll come all we'll discuss all the data types in one of the lessons, so don't worry about that. Or at least just keep in mind, most of the time we use some particular data type. It's not like you need to know all the data types, right? Because most of the time the data flow is character, numeric, or date type nature, right? We really use I would say blob or binary, but it depends. Decimal, these are all subtypes of the numerical data. Same, we have the n varchar, varchar, nchar. These are all the subtype of the textual data, and then we have different type of the date types, which are timestamp, uh, date, and I think couple of others like date in here, right? So don't worry about interval day. So don't worry about these ones. We'll look at in detail once we discuss the data types at its due video. All right, so let me quickly come back to us. So you can see we have employee ID, employee, and one good thing with Oracle, which I haven't seen in the other databases, like you can provide the comments, or you can literally provide a description of your object at the same level. So these comments are stored, and even later on, if someone wants, they can query the system columns, all column comments, and I think all table comments to see the comments, and that provide a quick information that what kind of information has been stored within that column. So pretty good feature. Like if I need to know, okay, what has been stored in the job ID. So current job of employee, foreign key to job ID column of the job table. Because we haven't discussed the primary key, foreign key, so I will defer that concept to its video. But just keep in mind, we have a very nice documentation, so you can read and you can understand what kind of data is going to store in this attribute or in this column. Attribute and column is interchangeable. We use sometime attribute, we use sometime column, but referring to the same concept. Now, coming back to the next object, which is department. because obviously if we consider an organization and we are talking about its HR department, so this organization is going to have other departments as well, right? So it's not going to be a one department. So they have stored the information within the department table about the department, and we can look at the data to sense it. And you can see by the with the department, they also have the manager ID, which is referring to the person who is the manager of the department, right? Pretty interesting. But once we will start looking some more complicated SQL, then we will see how we're going to relate it back to the employee table, right? But we'll leave it at the moment as it is. And then we have the location ID. Sometime in practicality, we start with one object, and then it will guide us towards the other object. Like employees refer us towards the department, and our department is directing us towards location. So if I quickly come back to employee, you can see there is department ID here, and interestingly, we have the manager ID at the employee level. Pretty interesting concept, but we will see how we're gonna use it and what kind of requirements sometime occur with same column sitting in multiple table, right? So this table is directing us towards the department, and once we go towards the department, we find another chain link of the relationship. I don't want to use the word relationship because I want to keep the relationship at the very last, but you can see it already direct us towards another block of the jigsaw puzzle. So if we go towards the location, so we can see location has, so that's more like all the geographical information that where this department has been located. And you can now pretty comfortably identify the location is more like referring the address, and that we can understand this organization has been scattered across different geographical location. That's why they are keeping their department information, especially the location of their department information, in a separate table. And interestingly, I'm finding one thing really amazing, like it has the country ID. So now it is directing me towards the countries table, and now I can see, oh, we have the country information, and the country has a region in ID. So that means there must be some region table, and that's the last table we can see in here. So you can see once you pick one part of your schema, if it's nicely modeled, it will help you to understand the whole schema with very least, I would say, intervention. And that's part of the data analytics. I tell you frankly that once you join any organization, it's not like they provide you everything, but that's how it happened, that you join, they give you the existing legacy system or the existing new system, and you have to understand by yourself. And that's how you attract the information, because information normally has links. So once you start connecting these dots, things start making sense to you. Now there's only two tables left for exploration. So if I come back in here, we looked at the department ID, but then I have seen that we have the job ID. That's interesting. So that means we have a job table, and that job ID must have some additional information about the job. So if I click on this one, I can see job ID has further information about the job that that has title, minimum salary, and maximum salary. That's typical HR information. They keep the range by the title, right? We'll discuss all these once we come to start writing those queries, right? Interestingly, we have the job history. Now that's a separate concept. I'm not going to discuss until we discuss the warehousing concept, because normally in operational systems and OLTP system, we keep the information updated. It's not like we generate the history, but the once we start generating the history, we called it OLAP or warehousing, right? A completely different aspect of the same database world, but the concepts are very different. So I'll keep that table in the advanced topics, and we'll come back and revisit this table once we reach to that point. So that's pretty much it. I believe now you understand the full table structure and the whole model, and it will help you to understand the upcoming videos, especially once we start writing the queries. So if you like this video, or if you have any question, please put your comments in the comment section, and I'll try to reply based on the question. Otherwise, if you like, please subscribe the channel or like the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.